the suspension of the D-Levy, the indefinite suspension of the D-Levy, is welcome news. 1 cedi on every litre of diesel, petrol, and gas. But the suspension is not sufficient. It has to be repealed because they've passed it. It's an act. It has to be repealed. They are saying that D-Levy implementation, in fact, after it was passed, there was no sunset clause on when it will end. We also saw the nature in which it was passed. We all had, we all took to social media, everywhere, from civil society groups, from transport owners, from the minority. And I believe that the Iran Israel clash is a convenient umbrella for them to hide under.
We are not the MPP to come and talk Russia, Ukraine.
Allow her. I'm saying. Now, if you say that you are not MPP to say that you are hiding under Russia and Ukraine, your own president this weekend said he's taxed the economic advisor, former finance minister under his tenure, to look into the impact of it. All this is is just psychological warfare to prep our minds in the event that oil prices go up, which is inevitable when such things occur. Now, the D-Levy was projected to generate 5.7 billion annually. Mind you, this imposition, this forcefully implemented levy, which has now been suspended, was going to put a disproportionate burden on consumers. Why? Because tariffs had gone up. Electricity tariffs had gone up 14%. Water tariffs had gone up 4%. And this introduction of this levy is straight up going to impact consumers. Adding that further cost to fuel, both economically and socially, was reckless. Last week we sat here, we talked about it. It wasn't just the minority saying so. Yes, even if you feel that the MPP doesn't have a right to talk about it, it also doesn't take away the fact that the challenges in the energy sector, as far as debt is concerned, was created by you. Now, when you say ESLA, that nobody has mortgaged a fund to service whatever, the ESLA situation was to pay off debt. Ani, creditors, fuel suppliers, banks, as at 2015, were struggling. How do we pay off the debt? You didn't have any solution to pay off the debt. So you introduced ESLA. In its introduction, you also didn't hesitate to sign 32 contracts which gave excess capacity, which added to the debt. Akufo-Addo's government came in 2017, sat down with the World Bank, developed an energy sector recovery program, which would see us service that debt. A debt that would have been 12.5 billion. And this was as by 2024, as far as the projections were concerned. Now, as at 2025, we can conveniently say that that debt has been serviced. We don't have, the World Bank projected that we'll be left with 12.5 billion to pay if we don't restructure the debts. And we did that.
Of which debt?
Of the energy sector debt.
Hey.
And we spoke at length last week. If she's in hibernation, she needs to come out of it and be up to date. Now, the Middle East tensions and thereof. Ghana is heavily dependent on imported refined petroleum products. If we sit here and she says it will not be affected immediately, it's not about immediately. It's about if this situation is not resolved and it becomes another prolonged conflict, it is inevitable, we'll suffer it. So you removing it is just politics for you because you demonized the tax, a particular tax we introduced when we were going through trouble. So it's politics for you. And it also suggests that you don't even understand the economy or what policies you want to implement. Energy sector debt. Annie, as of 2024, ECG had increased their recoveries of revenue from 400 million cedis to 1 billion. We have sat here, I think Honorable Collins has actually elaborated the challenges in the energy sector, particularly as far as ECG is concerned, and how improvements, if we stick to it, if we are disciplined, can improve as far as recoveries are concerned and service whatever debts they are. So instead of saddling or introducing that draconian tax that you did under a certificate of urgency, without consultation, without buy-in, without a broader dialogue, using and knowing
the 1 cedi.
Yes, 1 cedi per liter of fuel on diesel, petrol, and gas. It was insensitive. The backlash was real. Transport drivers were upset. Comac, you read a letter from them. It was a very terse letter that I'd never see them even use those express themselves that way. So the backlash was real. Using this, a war that you admit will not affect immediately, but they are using it to preempt a removal, is because of largely the public outcry and backlash, and not because of what she says. And you see, that's what sometimes I love about her. She says her personal position when she was even talking about, which sometimes differs from the party position. That is why maybe her appointment is delaying, because they have told her what to come and see.
But you see, as
but her conscience is not.
Is it not a good thing for a government to consider the future in terms of managing an economy, projections, anticipation? All those are considered to do your economic planning. So you may have taken decisions maybe yesterday, but you decide that, let me review this decision because I'm anticipating that fuel prices may skyrocket, may reduce, may do this, looking at the factors at play.
Absolutely. It comes off that is considerate, they are carefully planning. But in this erratic behavior that has been shown in the last few months, shows that they don't know what they are doing. Because as of March, when Atufosin went to Parliament to present the budget, he could have hinted on the D-Levy. He could have. That shows forward-thinking planning and ultimately letting us understand that if you claim you inherited a bad economy, there are certain taxes that should alleviate problems. The biggest problem is in the energy sector. That's what you would articulate. You didn't do that. But just months down the line, less than 3 months, you rushed to Parliament to pass a D-Levy. And people are saying, are you... Look, it wasn't just minority. Even their party stalwarts had problems with it. They took to social media pleading with Ghanaians that take your time. It's not that we want to punish you. We are sorry. We apologize. You saw some social media posts. Ejuji, MPA, CEO, something along the lines of we are begging you.
He was pleading?
Yes, he was pleading. He was being sensitive to the backlash or the outcry on the ground. I even said that, if for nothing at all, after having said you won't introduce or increase taxes, apologize to us and let us understand the situation we are in. Maybe there's a crisis. Maybe there's something you've seen that we haven't seen, because maybe you have you are working using economic indices and indicators, or you have some AI technology that's preempting and giving you a certain forecast. You understand? You didn't do any of this. And then we come to the point where you are now saying that after introducing it and justifying it and releasing statements on it, you are now saying that you are repealing it indefinitely because it was politically suicidal. Why? Because you introduced another layer of burden after electricity tariffs and water had gone up. So this conversation of sensitivity and all that, if you look at the pattern, it's not sensitivity. They are playing politics with the economy, and over time, they'll be exposed. I think that they have to, you see, and I've said it before, that it's not in my interest to see them fail. No, because when they do, it's...
Politically benefits you?
There is a short-term political victory But long term, the impact on the economy and the lives of Ghanaians, you can't undo it. When Doomso happened 4 years ago, between 2012 and 2016, in its consistent, repetitive, drastic, negatively impacting way, it was a problem. People had set up businesses. People had wanted to expand their businesses, but they just couldn't keep the lights on, and we struggled. You don't want that situation to happen. Nonetheless, let's not hide behind, oh, is the listening government? Where was the listening when you used that certificate of urgency to pass the D-Levy? What was listening about it? What was sensitive about it? Up till now, there's no justification for it. And then less than 2 weeks after...
This certificate of urgency, do you actually, on a normal day, not consider the situation that we're in as urgent enough?
So what is the situation?
Because right now we don't really have the money to pay our debts. We're still consuming because we have to. We have to buy the crude or the light crude, whether we like it or not. We are just pressed with financial crisis everywhere. Even within managing the sector in collection of money is a problem.
Okay.
We have corruption issues seemingly that we need to deal with as soon as possible. The potpourri of activities happening within the energy sector is so much that if we don't pay attention to it, the whole country will crash because of lack of power.
I've said that you deserve an appointment. All that you said should have been a reminder before the budget was laid before Parliament. All the considerations you are saying, as far as corruption is concerned, as far as debt management is concerned, despite all the debt and issues we faced, the 10 billion cedis, 10.1 billion cedis we faced and serviced and ensured creditors got paid, the 32 contracts to the IPPs we paid, we kept the lights on, we introduced policies, we kept it going. Every government would incur some debts and pass some on. What you are saying is a suggestion that a consideration was not made as far as the challenges are. But yet they articulated a budget where it said that Aban Papa Aba. Didn't we hear this? In 2022, His Excellency John Mahama said that it's a bloody lie if COVID and Russian-Ukraine war had an impact on our economy. These things, it's a simple smartphone Googling to see the impact. Even if you're not sure, use AI to check the impact on African economies when COVID-19 hit. The impact on African economies and countries, just be specific, even Ghana, on when COVID-19 hit or when the Russian-Ukraine war started. I'm saying if you know all these things, your posture or positioning should not be that you are doing something fantastic and you are reducing the burden of the Ghanaian, and then you under a certificate of urgency without consultation with key stakeholders who have captured it and documented on paper, press releases to media houses and whatnot, saying a conversation wasn't had. Now you turn around and you say, oh, your economic advisor should look at the Iran, Israel war and advice therein. She is saying that it will not impact immediately, but we see the oil prices rising. So there's some impact already. So the next pricing window, we'll see the impacts there. So what they did, or what they are hiding under to repeal this embarrassing levy, is because of public backlash. It wasn't public backlash on just the part of the minority. It was their own party people saying, what are you doing? Less than 6 months in. Just by doing that, you reduce our goodwill by 40%. I said with 60%. There's no power bank or there's no charging system. When goodwill is going, it's going. And you have literally halved it. So they saw the mistake in it. That's why they deployed Isedu Kiti. I'm always, I have a soft spot for him because of how he goes about his politics. Gabi is sitting here trying to rationalize it. There's no rationalization. You hid behind the public backlash to repeal it. And when you implemented it, there was no sunset clause. Repeal it indefinitely. That will be a real listening government, because that introduction was horrible. It was not well thought out. And of course, the way it was implemented smacks of, I think it was, if somebody said it was broad daylight robbery, sorry, this was more midnight robbery.